Great. All that talk yesterday made my mind raced and kept me up all night. Ever since the early morning hours, police cars have been driving past on a regular basis. I can't be the only one who was kept awake by the loud sirens. It's a very uncommon occurrence around here. Many of the elderly locals who rarely leave their homes even drop by Hermitage to ask if I had any clue what was going on. It makes me feel a little uneasy. This part of town is usually among the most quiet. Who would call at this hour? How do you think of travel? Well, you found it. Did you stay up late again yesterday? No, I've got news from a friend. So, somebody stayed up for you? Late for you? Well, consider this proof that I'm well connected. Anyway, change topic. King Green isn't your average neighborhood. The district wasn't even supposed to exist in the first place. What do you mean? Originally, it's supposed to be a housing district for employees of the Mato No. 11 TV factory. However, less than a year after the first building was finished and paraded around as propaganda benchmark, all subsequent construction work was brought to a halt. Oh, right. That's the building you sent Nico into. Why did they stop the construction? I don't know. That's all I could find in the city records. The rest of the information seems to be classified, so I can't get to it. Is that the reason why there's so many low-rent apartments there? They want to keep the people there at least. Otherwise, all of them for nothing. Just a giant piece of land, completely empty. The government doesn't really want to get involved for fear of losing face. They're going to have a problem if the whole thing gets out. Interesting. Makes sense now. That building never did quite fit in the surroundings. It's going to be demolished and rebuilt eventually. You do some research who lives there? I thought you should ask. Actually, there aren't any registered occupants in the building. To be precise, the building itself doesn't exist. That doesn't sound too far-fetched. Guess something like that kind of in a big city. What baffles me is that they still have water and electricity. The people in there seem to be living without a care in the world. You can't just steal water or electricity somewhere. Water companies and plumbers are still taking jobs to the place. It's all very strange. You say that again. For an abandoned building whose existence is even acknowledged, it seems a bit too well maintained. Long story short, there's something off about that building. I should just keep an eye on it. Ask Nico to help you find the old records of the TV factory. We might find something there. Well, it's okay. I'll handle it. Thank you for going through all this trouble. So that's it. Huh. I looked up from my phone, only see someone waiting at the counter. Unfortunately, it's not a guest I'm happy to see. I can tell you're on edge. Don't be alarmed, for there is no need to worry about this neighborhood. After all, I am aware of how important this place is to you, how much you cherish the moments you spend with your friends. In a rare moment, showing actual emotion, he smiles at me, though it looks more like grimace than a genuine smile. Every time something's been bothering me and giving me a headache, you show up. So tell me, are you somehow linked to that? Or is it just my way of sensing that you're around? Seriously, the company's side effects are most detrimental to one's health. I can recommend an excellent doctor. You should see one. What do you want today? I have something to say, and not really in the mood for one of your visits, so make it quick. Same as always. He turns around and shows him the object he's holding. By the way, I finished reading your last batch of books you delivered. It's interesting material, that's for sure, but there's nothing helpful in it. Well then, consider looking at it from the bright side. That just means you'll have slightly fewer headaches to deal with. I'm glad to take a break of this when I can. I've had more than enough to deal with lately. store owner starts walking past the shelves, browsing the various collections on display. Things probably look all that different than they did when he first put me in charge. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. By the way, how well do you know the city? I'm not really familiar with all the districts, I'm ashamed to admit it, but I'm not a person who enjoys exploring new areas. I quite like staying in my comfort zone. That's something I didn't mean to ask you about. Something happened almost 20 years ago. That is quite a long time indeed, but feel free to ask away, though you might have to jog my memory a tiny bit. There is no residential district in the southern part of the city. So I assume your question still pertains to that isolated urban area? Seems there are quite a few stories about that place. The whole area is one of the least glamorous chapters of the city's long history. Some elderly inhabitants will surely remember it. 2 decades ago, following an unexpected economic boom, everything happened at too rapid a pace. The government's unfaltering enthusiasm for expanding the urban area was over-ambitious to an unhealthy degree. So there are problems with the expansion and construction? It was a very aggressive process, especially compared to other projects. Opaque practices and shouty backdoor deals were the norm, seeing as their policies weren't as clear and easy to understand as they are nowadays. Isn't it about things Scarlet dug up? I decided to test the waters a little. It's a pretty bold endeavor to construct cheap housing units among all those skyscrapers in a big city. Rumor has it that they're able to ignore the strict building regulations and avoid scrutiny due to connections to the right people in powerful positions. Entering that part of the city makes you feel like a foreigner, as if they don't want you there. Most of the older generation doesn't even speak the district's name out loud anymore. Such is the extent of its dark and troubled history. So the story behind it. A shockingly violent murder. A local man was found with cuts on both sides of his neck, forcing him to drown in his own blood, like a fish dragged on land. A resident came home earlier than usual, only to stumble upon the landlord in his own blood, devoid of any life. It was at this very moment that he gazed upon a huge shadow, making a horrifying whistling sound. If he hadn't screamed at the top of his lungs before passing out, there could very well have been another victim. It's said that the story was heavily downplayed. Even newspapers took a step back, so as to not spread the word. Obviously, as is the case, the rumors and murmurs streaming from such activity only further stokes the flames. Sounds like a B-movie. Many theories about the motive for murder are flying around, as was a list of suspects. However, over time, people quickly forgot about it and lost interest. As popular topics of discussion changed, only a select few remained curious. Most simply, chose to move forward and forget. Which side are you on? I can only tell you that I had nothing to do with it. You only make yourself look more and more suspicious when you say it like that. He stretched out his arms in front of himself, as if he has no intention of further dwelling on the subject. I'd wager that the Kingring district holds many secrets that you may find very intriguing. The same kind of intriguing as people who would have been gutted like a fish? 20 years or so, a group of people ran into something there. Some of the elderly tried to settle down into the area several times, yet they never stayed for more than a month. They wanted to get into hiding and live in isolation, with as little contact with the outside world as possible. Yet, even a group like that did not manage to stay there. That's odd, isn't it? Why couldn't they? From what I've gathered, it's the perfect place for that kind of thing. There aren't even security guards. We thought the same, right until we laid eyes upon one of their men in the hospital undergoing emergency surgery. It was a harsh way of being confronted with a reality. No one's ever quite able to figure out what happened to him. Only that stepping inside for a short time was enough to cause grievous bodily harm. Sounds like that virus that attacks the immune system? An appropriate metaphor. Though I'm unsure if that's actually the case. It's truly a fitting description. So the body displayed symptoms of rejecting something That's very interesting. That particular incident marked the end of our endeavors there. Afterwards, the area became a no-go zone for all of us. Well, it already was when I joined them anyway. I've been intrigued by doing this, yet every time I make an inquiry, I'm given the cold shoulder. So that threw a wrench into the ongoing construction plans then? Well, you'll have to figure out the rest of the mystery yourself. I'm afraid I won't be much help in that regard. Maybe you could gather some information on him, bring with you next time. It could prove really useful. Just things are beyond my control, I'm afraid. Though, I'd wager that it only confuses us both even further, even if I happen to stumble across such information. I wasn't being completely serious in any way, but you dropped off today is gonna keep me busy for a while. Well, to take up maybe more valuable time then, if there is any pleasant news, please be sure to share it with me. There hasn't been a lot of good news lately, but I'll try my best. That's highly appreciated. Have a nice day. After his unannounced visit, he turns away and leaves just as quickly as he appeared. All he really does is deliver all these books. And he always carries around that strange briefcase. The books are the least of my concerns right now. I'm more worried about the things he said. The Kangaroo district sounds like a dangerous breeding ground for trouble. This case appears to be much more complex and dangerous than I thought. Let's see how today's investigation turns out. Alright, so we get some new books. I feel like I've already looked at that one, so I think it's just these three. Let me just make sure. Craft paper. Yeah, staples again. Alright. A handmade book with unique binding. The author is unknown. The book looks very obscure. The front and back cover have a plating made of walnut wood held together by a string made of sheep's intestines, because obviously. The author writes about bizarre, advanced creatures. He claims that having a strong spiritual connection to beings he refers to as ancient gods, this connection is the reason for their mindless servitude and them viewing these ancient gods as masters. So many of these creatures are mentioned that have to write them down one by one to give them some kind of order. The writing style and font are unusually delicate, immediately drawing in the reader and giving them a strange sense of familiarity. This book shows modern craftsmanship, it still looks very tattered. Books are in very traditional style, the corner of the cover is cracked, and the remaining part of the cover has some traces of seal, obscuring everything but the word collection. The book seems to have changed hands many times, surface damaged, some of the previous pages are dangerously close to falling out when you flip through them. The front page has been glued to the hard paper and was printed in red. It contains quotes from historical leaders of the past. The book is an extensive and detailed record of ancient generals' various conquests and expeditions. It chronicles every single victory and loss. After a victory, he would lead his army to hold a grand sacrifice, holding up a seal towards the sky. The text says, "We shall ever stand like rocks and be remembered. They will chant our names in glorious songs and celebrate us in joyous dance. Let the beast be forever on our side. Follow the ceremonial rites and chant along, with your voice twice as loud and your harvest twice as fruitful. Let us bask in joy and happiness, for good fortune shall favor us, and we shall be protected against whatever sorrow and misery lies out there." The book describes the exact time and cardinal point in which each sacrifice was held. The format does not resemble that of any known calendar. The author drew a star with a strange mark on the last page. Its meaning is unclear. That's more than I thought. Okay. What's this one? A rough 32-page booklet. The cover appears to be hand-drawn. It's small and could easily fit into a pocket, indicating that the author intended for it to be read on the go. The old Red Cross logo is printed on the back of the book, but looks more like a red crescent. The book describes medical techniques and their practice practical application in the wild, as well as in more populated areas. Humorous illustrations show different possibilities of failure. In the book, the author mentions several ways of dealing with bizarre wounds. The illustration shows strange wounds that could have not been caused by a common knife or a firearm. There's a list of very secret herbal remedies for different internal diseases, often used by ancient indigenous creatures around the world, as well as a variety of traditional massage techniques that are said to be very effective. The author warns us not to abandon common sense and rational thinking when it comes to treatment methods, but because many of these cannot be explained blindly by putting our faith in science. Because many things can't be explained by blindly putting our faith in science. Okay. If your patient shows signs of physical deterioration for no immediate apparent reason, and they're likely suffering from a grave condition, please take adequate care of them and stay vigilant. This is a serious matter, and there are ancient historic records that mention people dying from it without anybody having seen it coming. Okay. Self-analysis, self-evaluation, and self-cognition. A book with a black cover and bronze lettering, the author's unknown. Brief introduction, as well as the full text is written in German, and there's an extensive table of contents with all the different chapters. The book revolves around the theme of the world and the self, and contains a variety of philosophical. Jeez, I have a freaking minor in philosophy. I don't even say that word. Good God. It contains opinions on a wide variety of philosophical topics. The author's point of view is extremely idealistic and definitely not shared by the general population. The author believes that our perception of the world is actively shaped and altered by the other people surrounding us. Thus, after being born, humans only have a very short window of time in which they experience the world in their own unbiased way, unswayed by others. For others' influence, we have our ways of looking at the world around us. Our lower self cannot fully carry the burden of such limitless imagination, thus creating the world's containment. Try to imagine a world with the same endless potential as your pristine, untouched mind. Return to the same state of mind you were in before you let others shape it. That's the way to truly bring about actual change. Analyzing and digesting our ego is the only way to true ascension and self-improvement. Becoming aware of our artificial limits and the shackles put on us by never thinking for ourselves allows us to truly embrace who we are and make a change. And italices. The book's next page once contained a self-portrait of the author, but it has been scratched out with a knife, leaving behind only blots of ink. There are a lot of obvious traces that the book hasn't read a lot. It looks ancient, even though it isn't an original, but just a transcription of it. The old text is vertically arranged ballad and using simple Chinese characters, with a rhythm, beat, and harmonies added on the side. Much of the ballad is about a fantastical being named Great Mother. She blesses ships out to the sea, controls all living things in the ocean, and disperses storms and other potentially dangerous weather. The description makes her sound quite opulent. The ballad's clear instructions for how to ask for a blessing. While asking for whatever you want is you want her to help, but while asking for whatever it is you want her to help you with, you make a promise to fulfill a certain condition. An example is given. Come to me, Great Mother, return me safely from the sea, I gift you tea, I'll bring you meat, Great Mother in a black dress, please come to me. Additional numbers, there should be 9 songs. All enough, the book only contains 6 songs. The other are nowhere to be found, and it's not like any pages have been removed. Okay. And that's all the books. Alright. I have absolutely no idea what we learned from that. Wow. It's so much messier than I thought it'd be. The entrance to the alley is quite narrow. Neko size. Nico, not Neko. Technically it might be Neko, but I'm gonna say Nico. I've gotta fit his voice. Pity we can do this via search engine. Watch your step. Who knows what could be littered across the ground here. So dirty. So... Didn't mean to do that. So dirty, so messy. I want to go back. Are you a 3-year-old? You complain just as much? Well, we're already here, so let's just get this over with. Here, these are the things you asked for. Wait, I thought it was just basically some system refresh for the phone. Who do you think I am? Why have so many parts if you're not going to use them? I didn't expect this to be so small. How long do you think it'll work? It'll work until you're bored with it. Do you know how low energy conservation of a recorder is? The quality of this thing is way worse, so a simple battery will keep power for a few days. Just put wherever you need it and remove the tape on the back and press the switch, and this thing come back to me. If you're worried about being tracked, you can throw it away later. Okay. What, no more comments? First things first, I don't have a warranty to cover this. I only had a limited budget for the parts, so I'd make do. Nico. Since this isn't the first time you've done something like this, is it? Well, this time there's a budget in it. I'm, more on the store manager side. Come to think of it, it's thanks to these gadgets I was able to get to know the manager and live that life I'm living now. No wonder he approached you for help. That's because science and technology have advanced so quickly over the past few years that people like him can't handle it anymore. In his eyes, I'm probably just a sorcerer. I can imagine that somehow. Even though he's cooped up at home, it doesn't mean we have to be. Line up a bit. Your eyes are glazing over. Did he tell you anything about me? Well, a little. To be honest, there are plenty of things he doesn't have a clue about. I can't stand nosy people. So, this isn't a problem for you? What do you mean? If you keep investigating, you may find yourself in the same situation as your previous master. After all, the deaths are so similar that they were never properly wrapped up. If you ask me, there's a good chance there's a connection there. So it seems like you've done your homework. Just wait until curiosity kills me. My name means cat, after all. It doesn't matter. What did the old fools... What did the old fool do? I can't do his voice and her voice. They're just so different from each other. It doesn't matter. What the old fool did have nothing. What? What the old fool did had nothing to do with me. Oh, what the old fool did had nothing to do with me. Okay. It doesn't matter. What the old fool did had nothing to do with me. All I know is that no matter what we find out, I'm gonna keep going, unlike him. Pity. Such a pain in the... What? Nothing. So what's next? Let's split up. I'll hide a camera nearby, and you'll take care of the other locations. After that, I'll start questioning nearby residents, and you can wait by the entrance to the community. Wow, sure sounds like I've got a real important role, huh? I'm stacked like a regular cop, I'm standing around with you. Wait for me and I'll... Text me if anything is wrong. Remember the signals. 2 for all good, 3 for retreat, a phone call means help. Why can't I just send a number in a pinch? We won't make any hasty mistakes to happen. we have good cover. But once it's blown, it's blown for good. We can only play this card once, so let's not waste it. If you call me, I'll run and talk later. Anyway, let's just play our cards. Excluding Aurora of youthful carelessness, Nico slips away into the shadows, appropriate cat-like. Justin takes a satisfied look at the soon-to-be surveillance equipment. Alright, let's get to work. More of this joke, okay. First time I met Nico, she was holding her backpack for dear life. Even though she was hungry, cold, and alone. A running friend with nothing but her exceptional knack for technology to her name. Because of her life during those days, she knows every nook and cranny in the city. Justin might know his way around too, but there's a big difference between staying hidden and blending with the crowd. And that's just considered the normal part of the city. The deliverer's words were still bothering me. But as always, there's news and Russian things. I have the ability to blend in with the crowd like Nika does. The sun right outside the door is always dangerous to me. Besides, if I go out, what happened to me then? I have this unpleasant feeling in my gut, but I can't quite wrap my head around it. I should forget about it and just wait it out. Rather than get myself all worked up, I need to calm down and prepare myself for what's going on, what's coming. I rifle through the cluttered papers on the desk and retrieve photos Justin left. The house is more recognizable than Nico imagined it to be. Whether it's the height or the unusual shape of the building, it's quite different from the mess around it. It's as if it's resisting its surroundings rather than being forgotten. Even the chaos around it hasn't managed to engulf it yet. She wasn't too surprised to learn that there were only 2 elderly people living in the entire building. The strange part would be that if there weren't any secrets hidden inside. Nika placed the camera on the edge of a utility pole right outside the building. The trees on the other side of the road offer a lot of spots to hide and observe from. But that'll be enough. Justin may have many creative ideas, but Nico has her own concerns. There doesn't seem to be anyone around. The rust and dust on the window makes the state of the occupancy obvious. As far as Nico can remember, elderly folks are always early, or always up early, so the only 2 occupants of the place probably are too. Seems like a good start so far, but meeting strangers in the building 2 days in a row might seem a little suspicious. Nico pushes open the half-open door to the building. The humidity in the air makes her frown. Maybe the residents cleaned the corridor, which doesn't seem much out of the ordinary. Just like Just said, the wall corridor has a dark marks along the bottom. The small light bulbs overhead aren't very bright, and even if they were, they wouldn't light up the place entirely. This is pretty much a blind spot. Nico puts the matter aside for now and makes her up the stairs. The doors on the other side of the fourth floor are closed, and though it's close to lunchtime, it does smell like cooking. Nico presses her ear against the door to apartment 412. The stale smell of rust with mold filling her nostrils. Although she's close to the door, she can hear nothing from inside. There's no sound of human activity, so it looks like Justin's worries about getting caught were unfounded, at least for now. The lock isn't very sophisticated, but that's the goal for today. 3 more floors left to check. The door shop is still locked, and the chain in front of it's pretty thick. However, it only has a small number of links, so it seems as the person who placed it there didn't intend to keep it locked forever. Despite the rusty parts, the keyhole is covered in bright scratches, and the hinges seem to be working just fine, meaning the door is used regularly. Seems like a few pieces of wire went to the trick here, but the door is evidently still in working order. Since it can't be opened, there's one last thing to be checked. Nico grabs her phone and switches to flashlight mode and points at the door. She has no money to buy a pro flashlight, so she has to cover the lens with a large piece of tape that she painted her marker beforehand. They aren't very obvious, but there are definitely some brown spots near the doorframe. Nico tries to reassure herself that the blood could have come from a chicken or a duck. Some kind of detergent would probably look the same under the violet light as well. Though, this thought does not ease her trembling hands. With the help of the purple light and brush, Nico gently swipes some of the particles. Since Justin is in the loop now, maybe we'll be able to find a place to have these tested. Shouldn't be any trouble if it's mixed with a little dirt. Or maybe, she can't draw any conclusions from it yet. Justin hasn't sent his messages so far, so he's probably still checking in with the neighbors about the situation. Although the detective told her to wait at the entrance to the community, he obviously underestimated how he worked up Nico is about the whole affair. There's still time left to try and break open the lock. Nico gets up and observes the keyhole carefully. Huh? What's that sound? What's that sound? The noise makes Justin look up from the conversation. It's probably just garbage truck again. It's so noisy. Yeah, seems like it. This place is such a headache, and it's been extraordinarily noisy lately. Manfred looks up and heaves a sigh. That man, in his 20s, would have chosen to stay in such a place is somewhat suspicious, but Justin doesn't have the time to work with it right now. Some questions have to be asked, and some questions you have to keep to yourself. The first rule of successfully playing the part. He didn't have self-dependence, although Nico gave some information in this regard, but started asking a lot of questions instead, as if you're familiar with this place. In a place like this, there's only a small chance of tenants trying to get to know their landlord, which gives Justin the perfect opportunity to take advantage of the situation. By forging documents, the detective has turned into a spy. As long as he chooses the right words, the tightrope wouldn't be impossible to walk. Most important thing is to make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into. This place might be cheap, but if you have a shady landlord, someone might be calling. Someone like me. What? I don't want any trouble. I'm sorry, I can't help you. Don't need to apologize. This isn't about you, so don't take it personally. I just like to ask some questions, if I may. Well, it's my duty as a resident to assist you in your investigation. Justin would very much like to know what the residents think about the investigation is about. All he did was ask about the condition of the neighborhood in a very direct manner, and the residents immediately changed their attitude as if they knew something. This all seems rather fishy. Did you ever see the landlord enter this building with any strange people? Someone you didn't know? No, he doesn't come by often. He just yells at me to call someone else to fix my plumbing and electric problems. So you never got along exceptionally well. Well, it might be too much to ask in a place like this. But I don't mean to complain. By the way, do you know if the access to the roof of the building's blocked? No? Not really. Did you want to go up there? No, never mind. Do you know the buildings nearby? Have you ever heard of anyone who keeps birds, maybe pigeons, on the rooftop? I'm afraid pigeons wouldn't even learn to fly in such a cramped space. But I heard that some homeless people who were staying on the roof were kicked out several times. This is a perfect chance to talk about what Justin really wants to know. He arranges his thoughts, trying to continue the conversation as naturally as possible. No. Do you mean that tall building? No, I mean the other one. Hardly anyone lives over there. Since nobody really likes to talk about it, I never go there either. So, you've heard these rumors. Since you can't see that building's rooftop from over here, I heard that sometimes there are strange noises upstairs. It scares the children around the neighborhood. And sometimes you hear a violin too, which makes it sound even more creepy. A violin. It's nice to know that the residents here are into classical music. I was just comparison. I've heard that it sounds completely out too, almost like an animal. Apparently, it's happened a lot for the past month. I get a shiver down my spine just thinking about it.
So when it comes down to it, you don't think there's a chance of someone hiding up there, do you? I didn't say that. After all, I don't know exactly what you're looking for. There's probably a lot of empty apartments and space around here. I really couldn't say. To be honest, I've seen some strange faces wandering around here lately. It looked like they're all heading to that side of the building. And you didn't mention this till now? That's because, I don't know. Strangers aren't that usual around here. After all, a lot of people live in the area and they move in and move out frequently. I would be particularly surprised if a new family suddenly moved into the opposite community tomorrow. But the group of people I saw was different. They didn't seem like the kind of people that would be looking for an apartment around here. No, you should be more specific. They're often groups of students or colleges who rent a place together to cut their expenses. But there are never more than 3 people. The group I saw consisted of about a dozen people, and they all seem to know each other. Maybe some shady company is using this place as a cheap place to rent. Who knows? But then they'd appear here more often, I suppose. I don't really keep track of them, though. Is that why you think that they're not like usual tenants? Well, yes. Usually tenants wouldn't be hanging around trash cans for no reason, would they? They're always hanging around in groups of 5. If it weren't for their neat clothing, they'd pretty much look like a bunch of garbage collectors. They hang around trash cans. Do they look at the trash? I don't know. I don't really want them to see me staring, you know. Okay. No. Okay. Do you remember anything else that seemed out of the ordinary? No, they all look like average residents. Except for the fact that they're always hanging around groups. Oh, but I did notice that they all carry yellow handkerchiefs. Yellow handkerchiefs? Yeah, they carry them around their pockets. Seems to be a lot going around here. And the trash cans seem to be a public reading spot. Should I maybe call police? This feels like you up to no good. Crooked Bear only makes things worse. And you don't want any trouble, you know? This is to be handled one step at a time. I'll trust that you'll do a good job. That's all for now. You might not want to see each other very often, but please, keep an eye out in case you notice your landlord acting strangely. Sooner or later, his curiosity will get the better of him. The detective decides to leave it and continue his investigation in the other buildings. How do I get in contact with you? I mean, if there's a problem, I'm not supposed to call the police. Nah, don't worry. I'll give my number, huh? No, what's wrong? It's nothing. Here it is. Just calmly holds up his phone to show the man his number. For occasions such as this, someone seems to have 5 or 6 different phone numbers. Flustered, the man looks at the longest phone numbers on just his phone. Got it? It won't take up any more of your time. Then take care. The detective takes his phone back, slides into his pocket and steps away. No problem. Take care. Phew. After taking his phone again, the detective's hands begin to shake. Before he left, he set his phone to only ring in case Nika messaged him. It had remained silent ever since. Yet, now, there are a lot of unread messages on it. 3 alerts from the store manager, all of course, he went Hermitage when they were preparing the operation, but it never occurred to Justin that he would send any instructions. Wait. What? Why is this a necessary retreat? I hope both of them return safely. Well, what's wrong? That's nothing. I smile and shove my phone back in my pocket. The strange guest seems a little happy about this, but he doesn't say anything else. The visitor had a unremarkable face and was wearing everyday clothes. He would disappear in a crowd in a matter of seconds. Ever since he entered the shop, the man had been extremely curious and trying to keep safe distance from everything around him, or courteous. But this behavior disappeared the moment he opened his mouth. Unfortunately, nobody takes notice of our store out here. At least, it hasn't taken on the district scene from the outside. Yes, he wants in the store pretty badly to come all the way out here. Yeah, we have a lot of visitors. We have a lot of channels of information that led us here. The rest is quite simple. Sure, sounds like a convenient method of gathering information. Don't you have some powerful contact as well? I'd like to have a friend who can get his hands on so many precious books. We have Mist license, you know. Although the place might not be in the best condition. Everything you'll find on the shelves is legal. So books like the history of the cannibalism are illegal too? Luckily, I sent a message to the others straight away to tell them to retreat. Cold sweat is tingling at the base of my neck. The world is full of coincidences. The stranger pushes the book back on the shelf, gently readjusting the bookends on either side. Your boss doesn't seem like a bad guy, so there's no reason for you to act all tough. I can sign every book he brought here, although he doesn't have anything to do with you. But deliberately hiding something from us is a different matter, and to be honest, I wouldn't recommend it. Nowadays, young people basically believe anything they see on the news or on the internet, but I'm long past that. That was a nice speech on your part, but do you really think I'm so easily intimidated? Well, why was all this even necessary? It's just a book, and I don't even need to take it with me. But the knowledge is hidden within the pages could be helpful to many people. I don't know what kind of deal you made with that guy. If it'll get you into trouble, I'll borrow it. Well, why not let me have a look at it here? I realize that threatening you won't do me any good. Really? It sure seems like that's what you had in mind, considering that thing in your pocket. He answers my question in silence, but his hand does not leave his pocket. He doesn't seem like a particularly honest person, but that's kind of my concern here. You see, this knowledge is inherently dangerous, and the people who deserve this knowledge never have the best intentions or desire. I don't think that whatever you're holding in your right hand could be worse than your grim visage. Sure, visage. That's something I'm concerned about. How dare you say that to someone's face? It'd be in poor taste to outnumber you. No, I'd rather not make a scene, if I can help it. However, if you keep resisting a cooperation, this won't end well for your companions running out there. Security isn't good in that area, so no one will notice if they just, disappear. The honest statement instantly gave me the goosebumps. The voice out there sounded like he's a rudimentally sure information. Besides, if they'd already caught Nico and Justin, there would be no need to be so polite right now. I could try fence, and it takes everything I have not to act on impulse. I'm wondering whether you might have made a mistake from the very beginning. Companions? I'm just a caretaker entrusted with keeping this place in order, and the stuff you see around here is really all I'm involved in. Oh. Is that so? There's nothing else for it. I put on a nonchalant face and shrug dismissively. The visitor furrows his brow as he pulls out his phone and heads to the door, as if he wanted to confirm with something with someone. Naturally, he isn't the only one to check on the situation, but neither Nico nor Justin are responding to messages. With an honest feeling in my stomach, I put away my phone and try to regain my composure by taking several deep breaths. It is long before an unexpected visitor returns, still sporting a poker face, not unlike the one the book deliverer usually wears. Alright. I don't want to keep repeating myself. He sounds as if he's making an extremely reluctant compromise. I guess it hasn't come to the worst yet then. You're both taking this a little too seriously. I repeat myself. I only care about the books that are kept here, and I understand the weight of knowledge that they bring with them. So, if this is truly important to you, prove it to me. Sticking to your principles so narrow-mindedly will cost you dearly sooner or later. As long as I remain the only person who knows on which shelf each book can be found at Hermitage, fate will allow me to be a little stubborn. And we visionaries have to pick up the pieces. No? You're no layman. You know the kinds of things we've done. So we extract each other, and I finally understand what he means. You know what happens if people like us screw things up, don't you? Rags and dustpans wouldn't be enough to clean up the mess. This isn't something that could be solved by brute force. Believe me, we've tried. So you're looking to gain more knowledge? We thought that was one thing we had enough of. I don't know how well you know that friend of yours, but he's definitely not as respectable as he looks. In any case, you're right. We need more professional knowledge. We may have relied on our elders in the past, but nowadays, we have to rely on books. After more than 20 years, time is running out. The police are smart, but if they don't get it right, we won't be the only ones who suffer. You're not gonna try to convince me something like people's lives are at stake, are you? Every time I listen to you, I ask myself, how did someone like you end in a place like this? Actually taking care of things. What a statement. But yes, I understand your sincere urgency now. The man shrugs and smiles maliciously. Which book are you looking for anyway? That guy brings an entire library with him every time he visits. And I can't promise you that he labels the books correctly every time. I pulled out a volume called The Ancient Prescriptions from the bookshelf to prove my point. What a mess. We're looking for a Chinese book related to stargazing, which describes how to observe a certain area of the sky with traditional techniques to analyze time. It's written with a special complexity, so it is rather difficult to understand without any additional study. Do you know approximately when it was published or what language it's written in? Are there specific writing elements such as poetry or autobiographical paragraphs in it? Those are a lot of questions just to find a book. If you want to snort at a book on stargazing, I've shelved them over there. The book describes a ritual that, if executed successfully, may achieve remarkable things. I remember that it had been some illustrations, but they weren't very well drawn. And by remarkable, you mean leaving this world. The only thing we failed to achieve. Once the ceremonies were completed, you are taken to a whole new realm. Believe it or not, there is a place that is truly free of pain and sorrow. Spiritual transcendence? No. It's a purer kind of detachment. Staying in this world has no spiritual or physical value at all. Sounds like running away. Of course you wouldn't understand. Just help us and no one will get hurt, okay? I think I know which book you're talking about. I'll go find it for you. I try to act as if it's suddenly drawn on me and gently push the guest away from the bookshelf we were standing. Looking very sure of himself, his eyes wander across the room. I use the opportunity to take a copy of the halberd and hide on top of the bookshelf. I have to limit any chance of him finding what he's looking for. I pick some plausible alternatives to them on the shelves and place them on the desk. Chinese, non-classical articles, Sawyer. The strange guest tries to remain calm, but I see the muscle in his jaw twitching. He takes textbooks and lays them out on my desk one by one, bending over to examine as if he were looking for a treasure. He isn't long for his portrait, Quick grumbles. He looks displeased. Something wrong? Are you sure that these are all of the books you have? These are all the books that fit your description. If you don't mind foreign languages, then you have some good ones like Hundert, Muldarian, Sun as well. Why would I want with that rubbish like that? His voice is low and threatening. I stand my ground and put on in his face. I don't know. You should have called somebody's honest efforts rubbish. However, I do apologize for not having everything here. Look. Again. It's as if this man had a switch. He seems to be angry right now. Actually, it might be broken altogether. Just as expected, the next step is to wear him down. I'm gonna have a smile and make room for the next shelf. Alright, let's take a look together here. Don't come back here. That guy really gets my nerves. First tell us to come back, then say it away. What is that he actually wants? Nico shoves the phone back to her pocket, kicking around some pebbles around her feet. That noise downstairs was no importance. After carefully checking that the air was clear, Nico tiptoed down the stairs to find that a sanitation worker was emptying the garbage cans outside. Perhaps Justin and store manager are rubbing off on her, and she's becoming more nervous of herself. This could have gone really wrong. The narrow corridor isn't broad enough for more than one person, so if the resident had come home at that moment, Nico had been trapped, rushing down the stairs in a panic like that was a bad idea. The corridor is dark, and the sanitation worker outside seems not to notice Nico. He rummages through the trash can, then closes the lid and leaves. Oddly enough, he didn't take a single bag with him. Nico covers his nose and lifts up the lid of the trash can. The smell isn't as bad as expected. The large plastic container is almost empty. It doesn't make sense. Even if there are 2 people living in the building, they would still produce waste, so the trash cans should be fuller. The trash cans are stained, and it doesn't look like they've been used a lot, but apparently this place isn't refined enough to use plastic bags. She closes the lid and claps her hands together vigorously, trying to get the dirt off them. The sanitation worker also took a look, indicating that there should have been some litter. Did someone take it away before the garbage disposal arrived? Intriguing thought. Nico crouches down and scans the ground around the trash can for any further clues. Huh? Something seems to be flying between the uncut grass and the damp leaves. It's mixed in with some pieces of plastic packaging that clearly strayed off course as they were being thrown away. Further proof of Nico's suspicions. Nico steps over a branch and begins to pick through the plastic on the ground. The wet grass has made it even more of a mess of everything. Even so, she quickly picks out the thing that caught her eye. This can only mean trouble. Ignoring the smell, she hastily wipes off the object with a paper towel and stuffs it in her pocket. Since the store manager gave instructions, it'd probably best to meet up with Justin at the entrance community. I wonder what he'll say about this. Meanwhile, the kids on the street are growing more and more apprehensive. God, we're only... Oh, okay. I'll say we're only half of the day, but... Ooh, alright. Having to wait around for hours on end. You know, you could really be a little clear about what's going on next time. Next time? Good God. I hope there won't be it next time. I'm starving. Believe me, I don't feel good about having you stand there for such a long time, but that was our only option. I didn't realize it was that long. For roller coaster ride today, 3 of us have reunited at Hermitage once again. The unwanted guest searched the bookstore all afternoon. I kept a close eye on him until he lost his motivation and decided to finally give up. He looked frustrated and annoyed when he left. Most importantly, he did not find the halberd. Having to play dumb while he asked questions throughout his whole visit has taken a hefty amount of toll on me. It's not serious, so speak up, what's going on? He's still breathing, no broken bones. Everything seems okay, at least for now, right? Yeah, for the time being, yeah. But I'm still glad I sent you a message in advance. I noticed a bunch of people outside when I came back. Does that have anything to do with what you were saying? Hold on a minute. What? Justin glares at Nico. Bad news, turns out, as Nico quickly grabs him by the collar and raises her voice. Did you think I was just dragging you along to buy ice cream or something? You idiot. Do you really think I can't control my appetite? No, but how could anyone even be thinking about ice cream this weather? Alright, you two, calm down. Everyone is in one piece, that's what counts. Anyway, back to those people Nico talked about. I actually think there could be a connection. You're not stirring up troubles to the locals, are you? Provoking them? People like that don't necessarily abide by laws. This is a series of murder cases. Danger comes with territory. You have to admit that it reaches a new level when the danger's at your doorstep. That guy might not be the culprit, but there's still a connection somehow. That became apparent when he explicitly mentioned the Kangaroo district. If he hadn't, I thought he was just another slightly weird and unsavory customer. I'm used to those after all. It sounds like he knew who we are and what we're up to. He must have been trying to intimidate us, right? It was hard to tell how many details he actually knew and how much was just bluff. Very nice. I'm looking for a book. All it proves he's involved. He's up to something. Yeah, him and looking for all the information we needed. The more you know, the more you're in danger. I don't know how much I can help. My knowledge on the topic is limited, to say the least. We can't draw any conclusions yet, but him showing up here was all I needed to be convinced that we're on the right track. You're still speaking about it in such an analytic way, even though we've kicked in the hornet's nest for real now. Don't worry, I'm well aware that I was lucky and things probably went as peacefully if they come calling again. So what's our next move? We compile the information we have to finally make sense of everything. I place my hands on their shoulders. Let's hear it. What have you two found out? The residents have noticed an increased amount of suspicious characters hanging around the neighborhood. They're patrolling the area. At least that's what the residents are saying. But they don't carry around anything suspicious. No bags or anything. If you're on dead bodies, it takes more than just a bunch of shopping bags, would you say? Constantly wandering around that area casts more than enough suspicion on them. I don't have one surveillance footage, so I can't say for certain yet. That's something I can figure out just by questioning the residents. I wouldn't say that. What did you find? Find anything? Didn't you mention that they were wearing strange clothes? Not really, apart from the yellow handkerchiefs in their pockets. I see. What about you? After I placed the camera, I went to the empty building and stayed there for a while. Though I couldn't confirm that what I had originally set out to, I know something else. Something unexpected. Nick takes a picture out of her pocket and places it on the table. What? Is this a family photo? Oh, you recognize it? Yeah, I saw this photo at the woman's apartment yesterday. It's her husband, and their son David in the middle. The neighbor next door said that they both died a long time ago. Is that so? I was careful of it. It looks old and time has taken its toll on it. A family of three, dressed in simple clothes. They don't look very happy. At least the child's eyes are still full of life. What is this? There's some strange reflective marks on the head of the two adults. After a closer look, it becomes apparent that they're the result of tiny scratches. Something seems to be written on it in pen and then wiped the ink off, only leaving the scratch marks of the pen behind. Sure, alright. I tear out a page of my notebook and meticulously redraw the marks. Unsurprisingly, they form a subtle pattern. I feel as though I've seen the same pattern in a book before. It might be a good idea to check again. Where'd you find it? By the trash can in the area. The trash seems to get picked up awful diligently there. Why is that? The neighborhood committee is still working hard in regards to hygiene?
That's unlikely. Without sanitation workers, there's no one to pick up the trash, right? Do you think someone's going through the trash? That's the reason why it disappears so quickly? There are traces of blood on the rooftop. You know people who analyze that and run tests, right? If our assumptions are correct, that building's the ideal place for someone to carry out their dirty work in secret. Yet, all the nearby residents never notice anything suspicious. Come on, Justin. Use your brain. Just this once. Or do you need me to spoon-feed it to you, truth, bit by bit? You see, I have television. Think outside the constraints of your work as a private investigator. Otherwise, it might cause you trouble in the future. Huh? Where do you guys sell the game, company? I don't have the nerve to explain everything. Can you do the honors? Doesn't look like I have any other choice. The man who came to Hermitage today seems to have a lot of connections to the Kangaroo district. He seemed ready to do whatever it takes to reach his goal. I don't put such heinous crimes past people. But even if they actually had motive for those murders, how did they carry out the bodies out of the building to where they were discovered? To establish a direct connection between the building and the murders, there need to have been a way to carry the bodies out of there without anyone noticing. What exactly is going on in that neighborhood? Oh boy, alright. Alright. We have 14 pages of clues, and 3 of them are correct. This is gonna be brutal. So after connecting to fieldwork, my absurd suspicions that I've actually confirmed something strange is going on in the Kangaroo district. How can I find out more? I'd almost rather do a different question than this, but okay. Something strange is going on in the Kangaroo district. Pothole will soon be repaired. I don't think that these are relevant, right? Not directly, at least. We're gonna sail to the sky, let the beast forever be on our side, follow cinema do. Here we go. The forensic pathologist stated these victims were losing blood at an abnormal rate before they died. I would say this is strange happening in the Kangaroo district. Fresh drag marks. I don't know, maybe. Marks in the family portrait. I have no idea if that's going to be relevant or not. Childs has always been reluctant to accept this fact. Okay. I mean, that's potentially strange. What is this one? The Deliver's companions also seem to have interest in the place. I'll add that one, and then we'll probably undo it. A neighbor lives near the house for a long time. A strange whistling can be heard in the middle of the night. Somewhere between a horse neighing and a strange instrument playing. I don't really know what the question is here.
Because, like, empty garbage can is suspicious as well. Does that matter? Oh, I want to do the whistling. So I think that obviously her family's gonna tie into that somehow. If she thinks it's still alive, well, maybe they are in her universe. Obviously, you've got, yeah, there's blood marks in the door. And if they're losing blood at a normal rate, that would be quite strange. And related to murders. That one as well, I agree with. I feel like these three are probably my best options. Let's go for it and be wrong. Yep. That doesn't make much sense. Otherwise, we have found more traces by now. From what we gathered, it's safe to say, something unusual happened in the Kangaroo district. They're definitely active in the area. We have an eyewitness to confirm that. They're obviously doing something in that building. But we should have found some more evidence by now. Oh, it's the things I need? Do that be in order? Well, no, they can't be. That doesn't make any sense. There's not an order for them to be in. So that's... I want to read that again. Because that'd be the witness account. The problem is I like all these answers. It has to do the book. It almost certainly does. But I don't know what. I don't know which book. I don't know which one to get rid of. Maybe. I don't know. I think I'm just gonna read these forever and not actually change anything. Because I don't see why it wouldn't be these three. Let me actually read these three. Oop, I've gotten rid of one of them. I mean, that's gotta be relevant. That one has to be relevant. Maybe that one's not? Maybe that one's not. That's obviously our witness. What's the question again? After conducting the fieldwork, my absurd obsessions may have actually been confirmed. Something strange is going on in the Kingering district. How can I find out more? I don't think it has anything to do with the book. I mean, that's a fantasy or a legend. This is evidence. After conducting some field work, so let's just get everything we've gotten from the field. So that one, obviously. Because this is just hearsay. Right? I don't know if that's relevant. I mean, that's gotta be relevant. Again, that's hearsay. Just need to gather trash cans. The trash cans under Hyld's apartment were completely empty. I mean... So if I ignore this one... If I add these two... Because what I'm thinking here... is that effectively they're putting their murder victims, they're shredding them up, and then put them into the trash can. That's what I think it's asking. And the strange thing isn't a supernatural thing. I think that's the question it's asking. Because, yeah, that's strange. I don't know. No, I feel like it's a different question. I mean, that's how we find out more. That would deal with the murders. And this is the first... Why? Duh! Obvious. I thought we knew that already. That's. Like. Okay. Whatever. Do I even read this? Jesus. Because, like, that's why we're investigating. Because there's mass murders. So the solution to your question is, there's something strange going on. Yeah. It's mass murder. That's why we're there. That's literally why we're there. That's what we're investigating. I look at my journal or whatever. I probably can't do that in this scene. Oh well, alright, let's continue on here. We have a few solid facts to build on. Suspicious drag marks were found in the stairway. The roof is locked up almost securely, and a person who got involved with the building has been murdered. We have put all that together to confirm our suspicions. If we assume that actual murder happened on site, then the homeless man who died must have been transported away from there somehow. It's possible to pull that off in a regular residential building that's swarmed with people, so other buildings are out of the question. Why? If you ask a stranger, wouldn't people pay less attention to you? The reports mentioned the victim's excessive blood loss, right? I wonder if there are multiple solutions to that. There's gotta be. Because there are mentioned points I was thinking of here. No, because those would use another. I don't know. I guess I know how I solved that. Because I was thinking of how the murder would happen, how you would get the body out rather than anything supernatural happen, which is what I first thought it was. Which, in a game about supernatural murder, obviously, that's gonna happen. But regardless, let's carry on here. The reports mentioned the victim's excessive blood loss, right? And if they went through the sewers, they'd stink up the place. It's too noticeable. That building seems out of place and very desolate, even by the low standards in that district. You came to the conclusion that nobody's been carrying anything suspicious, which seems to conflict with our earlier assumptions. But Nico's answer provides for both theories to make sense. Which is to say, everything makes sense if we assumed the person carrying the bodies didn't arouse suspicion. Like a garbage collector? A car wouldn't fit through any narrow streets there. But one of those cleaning tricycles used for garbage collection could be used to transport something without anyone looking twice. That could be a good explanation as to why people are skeptical of the garbage collectors and why things aren't working according to schedule. As the situation gives a whole new meaning to taking out the trash. It's easy to get your hands on something that looks like a garbage truck, or a garbage rickshaw in this case, and people would never notice if there's more than one, if there's one more than usual driving around. They don't care where it comes from, as long as it's rid of the trash. So, these people have adjusted accomplices, helping them get rid of their disguised. That makes more sense. But I had no idea what that meant. So, these people have disguised accomplices, helping them get rid of their evidence. It's really their disguise, and it's a good one, I give them that. Move the body out via garbage collection and then dump it somewhere else. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? The murdered plumber was found in a garbage dump. Apart from that, This disguise allows easy access to a lot of areas, too. You think the same thing happened to Miss Gang? You're right, if they used a garbage transport, nobody would pay attention to it. I should find a way to get a second look at the security footage from that time.
There's an awful lot of rickshaws around. It'll take ages for you to spot the right one.
It's a shame there's no surveillance in that district. If Nico could have pulled that off.
But you're glad I got out of there, right? Ain't you?
I'm glad as long as you're not hurt. It's that simple. I just don't have to be in a situation like that again. Let's get back on topic, shall we? Now it's those two elderly women.
When you checked out of the building, was there anything that indicates that someone is staying in the rooms on the other floors?
Thus, the dust is so thick, so you can barely move through it. Even if you could, there'd be spider webs would stop you, so in short, no.
The roof, on the other hand, is very suspicious.
That's right, but
those ladies are old, but not deaf. They must have heard something. Something is wrong up there, I'm telling you. I don't trust one bit.
So, what's your guess then? One has to be in on it. Suppose the body's from the roof, and you can seal it as garbage and dump it in nearby.
I'm sure they want their spot to remain hidden. That'd be why someone close by needs to carry out the bodies, hidden among the trash, before the real garbage disposal workers arrive.
That would attract attention if there are many people living there, using the stairs and hallways, but you know what it looks like there. There's nobody around. I can't find any arguments.
If you need time to disguise that, and maybe calm down a little.
No one is I should digest. Ha!
God dang it. If you need time to digest that, and maybe calm down a little, I'll be over here sipping tea, right when you are.
No, I'm calm. It makes sense, as much as the pain is admitted. If anything, that should motivate us to get to the bottom of this even faster.
That sounds way too stoic for you. Have you been watching motivational videos or something?
I'm just a small-time detective. I know my limits are. I can't ask for help from police and mobilize them without solid evidence.
You're thinking about involving the police now?
No, of course. No matter how you look at it, those two are involved with a group of murderers. Whether they're accomplices or not isn't important. Them living there hard puts them in danger. If they're discovered now, things turn very badly, very quickly.
Wait a minute. If you get the police involved now, we'll have even more to deal with.
I'm sure they can help. They have the means. But we don't know everything yet. And is it really worth risking their lives by sending them into a situation we ourselves are still uncertain about? The clock's ticking. And I don't think it's up to us to keep them safe. I don't think we could even do more. This is a big case, with many lives are lost, and many more at stake. If someone else gets hurt, do you expect me to live with myself?
Aren't you being a little too reckless about this?
I'm done hesitating. If you don't feel comfortable with it, I'll go talk to them alone.
What? What's gotten into you? How can you send them into a situation even though you're unsure about it? There's no turning back if you do that.
At least we could save more lives, couldn't it? And the art established a pattern to catch a murderer. Even my master worked endlessly on cases like that back in the day. So, why do you expect our case to be anything different? Getting the truth in such a short time is wishful thinking. Nothing more. We reach a point where I'm almost certain what we're gonna do next. If we hesitate now, we're cowards, just like a master. Is that how you are? Do you want to turn back on people you know are in danger?
Are you done? It's really frustrating you never understand what's going on.
What do you mean?
I hate having to spell everything out for you. Remember the man who came by the store today?
Knowledge is the most dangerous thing in the world, and as it happens, it's the only thing I possess. So, what could he have won from someone in my position? Knowledge, of course. What's wrong with the book they're looking for?
To tell you the truth,
I haven't looked into it that much yet. It's a bunch of gibberish that really is too much to handle.
But if they can't proceed without it, something important has to be there.
Exactly, so we're in a position of power. If they are connected to the murderers, they can't proceed as planned right now. And if they aren't, you don't have to worry about the elderly woman's safety. I have a hard time putting all my trust in a weird book. That just goes against my common sense. A lot of things can't be explained with common sense, but I agree with you. I'm still in possession of the book, and the equipment Nico and you set up should help us provide enough evidence for our theories. If we act without thinking now, we could lose our advantage. I really need to find someone to help me decipher the meaning of this book. Let me give Scarlet a call? I don't know. I mean, won't she be angry if you call? If I do it, she'll lash out at me. I've already demanded way too much of her. Buy me dinner. Yeah, make do with this noodles and we've got it. Nico starts to submissively kicks the floor. So, why do they want to pick up garbage today? Are you for real? Do you have the memory of a goldfish? Like, come on. Memory of a goldfish is just a myth. I mean, if they use garbage to hide the bodies they're transporting, why would they head out today? Their bodies were basically intact. Were they? Oh. Oh yeah, I guess they're just brutalized. They're brutalized, they weren't shredded, never mind. Okay. And I guess, yeah, you could probably fit a body in a trash can if the person carrying the bag was in on it. They wouldn't think of it suspicious because they knew about it. Okay. Okay. That makes sense then. When I visited the building, Heil didn't really stop me and didn't find anything in her house. But her neighbor was completely opposite. When you put it that way. Just as I'm giving it further thought, just as Fun brings the worst possible time. Justin's expression is as subtle as mine. He signals Nico to be quiet and walks out of the store with a stern expression on his face. What's wrong? All I can do is shake my head. Justin's worry can be all explained one away. After a short while, he ends the call and returns to the store. His expression is gloomy, foreshadowing bad news. The police found another victim. Damaged limbs, massive blood loss, wounds almost identical to the others. Where? At the bottom of the bridge crossing the river, outside the district. All the victims have been lit away from that district. Yeah, that's not the point. Oh? What is it then? The police have conducted a preliminary investigation. They've taken a look at the body and gathered the most basic information. The deceased is a tall, thin, elderly woman. The whole thing's just messed top to bottom. What have we got ourselves into this time? What does stand like rocks even mean? Frustrated, I crop my notes into a paper ball and throw them into the basket next to me. The fact that Hermitage is utterly quiet at night is nice, but in this case it isn't helping. Justin hurried away right after receiving the call from police, intent on going to see the murder personally. He looked pained when he left. I was overcome with disbelief and extreme remorse. A person he's in contact with only recently is now dead. The whole situation must have weighed on him heavily. Although he's never spoken about it, I think Justin has a sense of protectiveness. And no matter who the suspect is, justice should never be carried out outside the law like this. Even for such a short time of knowing him, his work ethic and sense of responsibility have become apparent to all of us. For a man like him, who takes pride in his profession, there's nothing worse than experience failure. However, neither Nico nor me are in a position to comfort him. I just hope he finds some solace in his work. Pseudo-heartfelt emptiness speeches are my style, and Nico is the same in that regard. People should stick to what they're good at. It's better to offer help where it is actually useful. It's just a more genuine approach. There has to be a way to figure this all out. After having talked to the strange visitor, the hidden contents of the halberds aren't particularly hard to crack. Once you know what the mystery is talking about, the observations are actually seen a little ridiculous. The text often alludes to the concept of time, The book itself is a war biography with its own narrative timeline. The way in which events are connected via a timeline is quite absurd, but once you've cracked the code, it gets much clearer. The key lies in the coding table, that is, the correspondence between the documentary records in real time. When observing the sky, the movements of the celestial bodies should move in pretty regular, and their records share certain characteristics. One even across referencing, and it should be possible to match combinations of all these patterns. The problem is in their main text. Stand like rocks, chant names. Let the beast be forever on our side. Protagonists often praise for victory with comrades, but world records aren't usually as detailed in this regard. Most literature on the subject wouldn't waste much time on stuff like that. There has to be some hidden meaning to those passages, but what could it be? Just when I start rubbing my face, like a madman, lost of thought, my phone started vibrating. Once I look at the caller again, I'm actually surprised. Guess you're in trouble again. Nico told you? Yep, sure did. We're all worked up about it. Another one we stumbled on in our investigation appears to have been killed. Just another way over to the scene to confirm it. Do you have any clues? Inside scoops maybe? How would I? It's like I'm running from crime scene to crime scene, but the building itself is very peculiar. Yeah, you've told me about it. Does seem like things have calmed down though. Sure after the incident, there are plans to move ahead with the construction of the residential area again. However, the person in charge disappeared shortly afterwards. Fired? Who knows? The land must be really valuable because it's happened multiple times already. It's never attracted attention? I mean, they're not just important officials. I'm sure reports are made, but they'll just slip down the rug. So they decided to keep the records a secret. Quite the humiliating defeat. Also heard from some friends on the inside that someone was definitely orchestrating this to keep other building projects from progressing. You think locals are involved? Indeed. They're the only ones who benefit from having it, having built their own cheap housing units in the Forsaken neighborhood. And it's plain to see how far they're willing to go. There's bound to be a lot of money involved in this. With the prevailing atmosphere, not to mention the harsh resistance, they're not exactly welcome. Offering help doesn't seem sincere when ridiculous large sums of money are involved. Many locals have decided to keep cheap housing themselves because they felt abandoned. Might as well go ask it for yourself. And all, not much has turned up. The only clue given by the witness was that the men who attacked the officers was dressed strangely. Care to elaborate? They used a thin twine and a yellow piece of cloth with a strange pattern to cover their faces. Similar to wearing a mask. Yellow cloth, are you sure? I mean, I can't be sure. I'm just reciting witness statements here, but it's really intriguing. Seems really excessive if they're just to hide their identity. It's already very dark around there, and the lights barely work. You're right. If anything, those patterns on the mask would attract more attention. Anyway, that's about as far as I can tell you so far. Be sure to keep me in the loop if you find anything too. Interesting. Your group has kept people away from the building in the past. With Scarlett's information, the situation that the deliverer referred to in the morning seems clearer now. If they don't want anyone else getting close to that place, that just shows how important it must be to them. It seems that only 2 families ever lived in that place from beginning to end, and now there's only 1 left. This comes as a complete surprise. The family portrait has odd and strange symbols that would indicate that something's out of the ordinary after all. What's that group's purpose? Alright. The unannounced visitor to the bookstore. Why would he do that? He appears to have organized these murders. Why would he have done that? He wanted this book. He obviously wanted this book, so I'll add that book. Why would he do that? Why would he do that? I mean, this has reference to the Visionary Society, so... I don't really know. Because he wanted the book. I don't feel like this answers the question, though. And it doesn't. Okay. Things aren't clear yet. There may be a piece of information that shed light on the purpose of the ceremony. Purpose of the ceremony. Purpose of the ceremony. Purpose of the ceremony is a different book? Purpose of the... I don't know what that would mean. Purpose of the ceremony. Purpose of the ceremony. Purpose of the ceremony. Well, I don't know what to get rid of. Well, obviously it's gonna be the Howard. We know that. That's what they wanted. He wanted this book. And the masks might not have anything to do with it yet. Let's get rid of that one, I guess. Oop. I feel like it's gonna be that one as well. I don't think so many of those four. Purpose of the ceremony. Maybe. Both of the parents' faces in the photo had strange scratches on them. They're long dead. I'm trying to talk myself into this one. I can't. It has to be this one, though. Oh boy. Can I save and load? I don't know what happens if I get this wrong. Let's try it. So I said use this one, right? So once I do this wrong, what happens? Okay. Yeah, let's redo that. Didn't it want me to read a book or something? It did want... actually, hold on. Oh, I can't actually back out of this. It's gotta be those two. Wait. These are in different order. Why are they in different order? There were only 14 of them before, right? So what's the new piece of information? I have no idea. Maybe it's not the halberd. Couldn't imagine it not being it, but maybe it's not. Okay, set to investigate a book. We already did all these books. Fuck you. Fuck you. Seriously? So, I had the information. I had to do this to... I mean, it did say that, but I didn't... But, like, I checked the interface here, and there wasn't the exclamation marks on the bookshelf. So I just went to the next stage, as you do. Because of course I did. Because that's how video games work. So I put in the correct answer, but it was wrong. So it's gonna be the halberd. Where is it? And these two, right? That's insane. Why? That's just insane. Okay. I guess I should check to see if there's anything different, but whatever. Alright, just reading this text. So, if you really is a member of it as well, I get the broad gist of the ceremony, but I'm not satisfied at all. If my suspicions are correct, the relationship between the family member and the thugs ran deeper than originally assumed. After what just said, we should leave the family alone for now. Is this part of the investigation really finished? If that's the case, why would you get involved now? There's only one way to find out. I have to say, relying on people much younger than myself for help is starting to get real embarrassing. I don't exactly, it doesn't exactly help me to feel I'm more useful. But man's gotta do what man's gotta do. I picked up my phone, ready to contact Nico. Hey, stop. You don't have to ask me that before 3 in the morning, you know? Something's come up and I need a favor. Did I put my shoes for that? Well, as always, yes you do. This girl will probably fly on my skin afterwards, but I can't worry about it now. Although she does scare me. Put down my books and make my way upstairs. Alright, and that's where we're gonna leave it for this part here. Oh boy. Alright, but yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one where there's an ominous person that can't understand us, or we can't understand them. Oh boy, what was that? Alright, but yeah, that's gonna do this episode of Hermitage. I'll see you guys next one. Peace.